Hello everyone, this is Crypto BitLaw back with another blockchain law policy and regulation update. Today is Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, and as we can see, it's a busy news day today. On the docket today, the disastrous crypto provisions of a recent U.S. congressional bill have been removed. That were the negative provisions of the America Competes Act were removed thanks to the outreach from the crypto community. $3.5 billion worth of hacked Bitcoin was recently transferred and laundered, and that relates back to the earlier Bitfinex hack that occurred a couple years ago. The U.S. Senate is set to review stablecoins in an upcoming hearing. Facebook pledges not to enforce metaverse patents. Thailand drops a cryptocurrency tax on capital gains. And India and Jordan are to launch a CBDC for their respective countries. So with that said, let's get ready to dive right on into this. As always, if you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and you can follow us on Twitter. We are at Crypto BitLaw. So let's dive right on in. So as we can see, first up on the docket, CoinDesk reported that provision in a House bill allowing Treasury Secretary to block international crypto transactions is to be removed. An agreement has been reached between the congressman who introduced the provision and an industry think tank that lobbied against it. They say, an agreement to remove a provision in a U.S. House of Representatives bill giving the Treasury Secretary the ability to block international crypto transactions has been reached, according to Jerry Brito, the executive director of Coin Center, in an industry think tank that lobbied against the provision. They say Representative Jim Himes, a Democrat from Connecticut who introduced the provision, confirmed the agreement in a tweet saying, quote, "Thanks for working with us on this at Jerry Brito. Good outcome." A provision in the America Competes Act, a bill introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives last week, would have allowed the Treasury Secretary to block or impose conditions on transactions should the official find that the transaction or the accounts involved are engaged in money laundering. So it would have given the Treasury Secretary, who's currently Janet Yellen, a fair amount of unchecked power to control the flow of transactions within cryptocurrencies. Now, we reported on this story last week, and it seems like, just based in large part on the community outreach to the congressman over this bill, actually forced them to walk it back. So good job, everyone out there. Mission accomplished. Next on the docket, we can see that hackers moved $3.55 billion worth of Bitcoin from a 2016 Bitfinex hack. Bad actors will have a tough time cashing out the stolen Bitcoin, as most of them are blacklisted. They say large amounts of Bitcoin stolen from the cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex 6 years ago were moved by hackers early on Tuesday. Quote, so far this morning, 94,643 Bitcoins worth about $3.55 billion have been moved in 23 different transactions from a wallet associated with a theft from Bitfinex in 2016 to a new address, blockchain analytics firm Elliptic said. These originate from a theft suffered by Bitfinex in 2016, the firm added. Quote, it is unlikely that these funds will be cashed out anytime soon. Funds from this hack have been slowly laundered over 5 years now, and cashing out large volumes over a short period of time would draw unwanted attention. Hackers last moved the stolen Bitcoin in April of 2021, transferring over $700 million worth of coins to an unknown wallet, or to unknown wallets during the bull frenzy brought on by crypto exchange Coinbase's then impending listing on NASDAQ. According to Elliptic, the funds were laundered through darknet markets like Hydra and privacy-focused wallets like Wasabi. Quote, Hydra brings the link between the incident and further transactions, and Wasabi Wallet provides the necessary level of anonymization, including the ability to hide the connection not only to the Bitfinex hack, but also to Hydra, Data said in a LinkedIn chat. The hackers obviously use the automation tools to reduce the chance of error, which could lead to the hackers being caught. As noted in April of last year, most of the Bitcoin associated with the Bitfinex hack is widely tracked and blacklisted. Thus, hackers would have a tough time cashing out on prominent centralized exchanges. And so I think that this is interesting, the fact that you have this Bitcoin, such a large amount of Bitcoin that was hacked, and now since everything, especially with Bitcoin, is on a public immutable ledger, it's really easy to trace the flow of those funds, of those coins from the hack to a wallet associated with that hack, and then you could just pretty much track every single outflow or every output of transactions from the wallet that was associated to see where these funds would have moved, and you know that those are the dirty coins that were involved in the hack. But it's really interesting because they're using this darknet market. We could see here, CoinDesk reported on this. It's Russia's largest darknet market that actually hawked an ICO a while ago in 2019. They say Hydra is reportedly the largest darknet marketplace serving Russia and neighboring countries, and it's pretty much a global enterprise at this point, where these hackers, once they effectively clean the Bitcoin using this Wasabi wallet, As we can see, here's another report. It calls Wasabi a wallet for anonymizing Bitcoin via trustless coin join. And it talks about how the open blockchain of Bitcoin makes it traceable, as we were saying earlier. You could trace the flow of the coins from the hack to the wallet associated with the hack, and then all the outputs from that wallet, would naturally have a link to be those dirty coins. And what this does is it uses trustless mixers, where you don't really have to rely on a centralized entity or website where you would deposit your Bitcoin and hope that they don't treat you to get it back. This uses a trustless network of mixers in order to anonymize those coins. So by the hackers using these two things, cleaning up the coins with something like Wasabi and then ultimately transferring them to a darknet market to avoid any sort of centralized exchange, they are effectively able to break the tie or the link between this hack and those funds and try to use it to cash out. Because once you've anonymized the coins with something like Wasabi, you can go on here on one of these darknet markets and trade it for something like Monero or maybe even a stable coin, and then actually move it back onto a centralized exchange and cash out in fiat. So I thought that this was interesting. It's interesting just to kind of give you guys a little overview of, if you were to launder Bitcoin, how would you do it? What's the best way to do it in order to not get tracked? And so we could see this is how it's playing out. I couldn't envision a better way to try to launder Bitcoin, which is, it recalls to me that Colonial Pipeline hack where, those idiots, they were smart enough to hack the pipeline but not launder and clean the Bitcoin by taking any sort of precautions like this. It would have been even easier if they just would have asked for Monero, just a straight up privacy coin. That's why a lot of that Colonial Pipeline thing just doesn't add up to me, but I suppose that's neither here nor there. Next up, we could see the U.S. Senate slates a hearing on stablecoins for February 15th this month. The Senate Banking Committee has slated a February 15th hearing entitled, quote, Examining the President's Working Group on Financial Markets Report on Stablecoins, according to the body's February hearing schedule. This is 1 week after the House Financial Services Committee holds its own hearing. The witness list for the House hearing includes the CEOs of a number of prominent crypto firms, including Jeremy Allaire of Circle, Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX, Alicia Jean Haas of Coinbase, and Brian Brooks of Bitfury, who also once served as the acting comptroller of the currency. The witness list for the Senate's hearing is not yet available. Both hearings promise an examination of the President's Working Group on Financial Markets report on stablecoins, which came out at the start of last November. In that report, the group urged Congress to limit stablecoin issuance to insured depository institutions. Meanwhile, the Financial Stability Oversight Committee designated stablecoins as a systemic risk, meaning the FSOC could leverage emergency regulatory powers if Congress fails to act. And I think that this is just a continuation of the trend where I really believe that the way that the stablecoin issue is going to play out is that the government is going to end up regulating these stablecoin issuers as banks. And you could see a lot of the primary players like Circle, a subsidiary of Coinbase, positioning themselves to get this designated institution, an insured depository institution label, so that they can ultimately issue these stable coins and be the government's chosen ones, if you will, to handle the issuance and all of the stablecoin related frameworks. Here we can see that Cointelegraph reports that Meta joins the Patent Alliance, pledges free crypto patents for all. By joining COPA, Meta will become one of 30 other businesses that have committed not to enforce their, quote, core cryptocurrency patents. They say, the Crypto Open Patent Alliance, or COPA, has welcomed Meta as a member, with the social media giants vowing to make its core crypto patents accessible to all. Meta, formerly Facebook, has joined the COPA, a group that advocates for public patents on crypto and blockchain-related technologies. By joining COPA, Meta will become one of 30 other businesses committed not to enforcing their core cryptocurrency patents. The general manager of COPA, Max Stills, describes the, quote, core cryptocurrency patents as technology that allows the creation, mining, storage, transmission, settlement, integrity, or security of cryptocurrencies. By forming an association and requiring member firms to contribute their patents to a collective patent library, COPA hopes to stimulate blockchain innovation by lowering the risk of patent litigation. Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter, commended the development on Twitter, stating that, quote, this is great. Last year, COPA sued Australian Craig Wright, better known for his widely disputed claim to be the inventor of Bitcoin, over his attempts to copyright the Bitcoin white paper, an issue that has plagued the crypto community for years. So I think it's interesting to see that, this isn't COPA's first foray into this space. They've been around and they actually sued Craig Wright, the guy that grifts and claims to have invented Bitcoin. But despite, if he were actually Satoshi, all he could do is just make one transfer from one of these Genesis addresses and then prove it, but he just doesn't because he's a grifter. But I think that this is a really good development, this joining of COPA by Meta and pledging not to litigate any other developments in the blockchain related technology space into obscurity through high profile litigation, just pretty much opening up their library of patents related to these technologies so that we can actually use it to continue to spawn innovation instead of engaging in this pointless litigation and trying to stifle competition. So I think that this is good. This is very bullish for the space in general. Next, we can see that Cointelegraph reports that Thailand scraps a 15% crypto capital gains tax following public backlash. The Thai Revenue Department had initially intended to tighten the oversight of cryptocurrency trading after seeing substantial market growth. They say Thailand has decided to suspend the implementation of its 15% cryptocurrency capital gains tax for now. The proposal, which was presented earlier this year, triggered a lot of opposition, but it appears that some sort of crypto tax will still be implemented. Thailand will reportedly not proceed with its 15% cryptocurrency tax plan after traders in the nation expressed strong opposition, according to the Financial Times. Several nations, particularly South Korea, have been considering how to tax the cryptocurrency market. After a lot of resistance, South Korea has delayed its crypto tax plans until 2023. And so this is just a growing trend. One part in a growing trend of nations around the world waking up to, the power and just the growth of these cryptocurrencies, and how you have members of your nation state embracing them and then using them and then trading them, and then as a result, getting gains or profits, taking profits on, the buying and the selling of these things. And like any government, they're going to come in and they're going to want their cut. And so most, if not all, nations that engage in this are forced to reconcile how they are going to tax these cryptos, and a lot of them have opted to tax them with a capital gains structure. It's just a matter of how heavy the actual tax levied on those profits are going to be. And finally, our last story, as we can see here, India is going to introduce a 30% crypto tax, and that's a corollary to the previous story that we covered with the Thai crypto tax and the South Korean crypto tax. But on a different note, India is planning to introduce a digital rupee CBDC, or central bank digital currency, by 2022 and 2023. And on the flip side, the Central Bank of Jordan is also revealing plans to issue their own CBDC. And so, as we've been covering here, it's just more and more of these nations kind of falling in line like dominoes, either testing their CBDC or getting plans together to eventually roll one out. And this is the way that I think the majority of nations throughout the world are going to end up playing this situation. They're going to introduce some sort of CBDC, and that's going to either serve as their stablecoin or play a significant role in how they approach and handle blockchain-related policy and regulation going forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. As always, please, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Please also subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate that. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @CryptoBitLaw. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.